The Biker Perk Deck. The perk deck that was released with the Biker character pack. As with all the other perk decks, every other aspect of it is shared, so we will not be going over those. Let's take a look at what this thing has to offer. Prospect. Every time you or your crew performs a kill, you will gain 5 health and 5 armor. This cannot occur more than 10 times every 25 seconds. Tail Gunner. Every 10% health missing will increase the amount of armor gained from kills by 1. Road Captain. Every 10% health missing will reduce the 25-second cooldown to kill regen by 1 second. Sergeant at Arms. Every 10 armor missing will increase the amount of health gain from kills by 1. Prez. Every 10% armor missing will reduce the 25-second cooldown to kill regen by 1 second. So essentially what you do is you get some kills, you get a little bit of health and armor back, and the lower health, the lower armor you have, the faster you get it back, essentially. So let's see how this bad boy performs. The first thing that stands out about this perk deck is that there's no restrictions on it, no real big caveats or anything. Like, you aren't forced to use any armor in particular, like Grinder, or you have no normal regen like Anarchist. So that's nice. It means you can kind of just use it on whatever setup you feel like using it with. I feel like it's definitely a lot more geared toward armor setups, but I'm sure if you're hard-headed enough, you can enjoy it with dodge too. Also, something that sticks out about this perk deck is that it has no extra reserve of something. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of perk decks now that end up giving you a large boost in some way or form. You get a lot of dodge, you get some extra health, extra armor, some damage resistance, something like that. Most perk decks have that, very few actually give you no boost. For example, Gambler, that perk deck only gives you healing through ammo pickup. You really don't get anything else. And while that perk deck isn't bad, it's definitely overshadowed, and you don't see very many people run it too often. Then again, what makes Gambler a little difficult to use is the conditions for the healing. It's a very inconsistent source. You have to grab ammo packs off the ground to get your healing, which can easily fuck you over if you have teammates that pick up ammo before you, or say you're playing a large map where you can't really run around and grab ammo. So, while the Biker perk deck doesn't give you a boost in any way, at least fulfilling the conditions for the effects is very simple. Just you or your teammates gotta kill people. Easy peasy. So, how's the regen on the perk deck? Well, it's not bad, but it isn't mind-blowingly awesome. The regen for both the armor and the health isn't very substantial, but since it does proc pretty often, you end up getting quite a bit of health and armor back consistently. The biggest downside of it is really just the cooldown. The cooldown hurts this perk deck in particular because the conditions for getting the regen is really easy to fulfill. Pretty much as long as anyone kills anything, you'll get the regen. So, as a result, you'll often find yourself in a position where you got the max amount of regen possible, and now you're just stuck waiting for the cooldown to end so that you can start getting regen again. Sometimes it can fuck you up because, well, when you need it the most, you won't be able to use the perk deck to the fullest. But I guess that's kind of the whole point of the cooldown, to make it more balanced. Since the perk deck relies on getting kills, anything you don't kill really fast can be pretty brutal to deal with. And what I mean by that is having to face a turret or Captain Winters or something. Those fellas take all of your attention, and they really don't die all that fast, meaning you can get easily fucked over since you're not getting anything back for what you're doing. Not like damage proc perk decks like Grinder or Maniac. Pretty situational, but either way, it's worth mentioning, especially when you have to deal with shit like that. Like, turrets fuck you over pretty good, as if they didn't already. It's slightly interesting to see that they gave the perk deck the ability to give you more armor when your health is lower, and more health when your armor is lower for the regen. This usually means that you end up getting more health than armor, since usually your armor breaks way more often than you have, say, constant low health. I mean, when you're getting health back, it goes up, so you won't be getting more armor as long as you keep on using the perk deck. It's a nice mechanic, I suppose, although I don't really notice it all that much during play. Like I said before, the effects of the deck aren't too substantial. Even getting the extra armor or health isn't all that noticeable. It just kind of happens. It's only when you're watching the gameplay and focusing solely on the health bar that you see it happening. So overall, the deck is pretty good, but it doesn't really leave much of an impression on me. It just feels like an all-purpose regen deck which seems to favor armor. I know when the perk deck first came out, a lot of people were saying it was overpowered, but I didn't really feel it when I was using it. In fact, I still don't. That's probably due to the fact that there's nothing really to build around it. And what I mean by that is, skills can complement the perk deck, and depending on how your setup goes, it can definitely make some perk decks a lot better. Say you're going with Anarchist. If you build with armor in mind, then you can get the perk deck to go from mediocre to amazing. More obviously is the dodge perk decks, you know, stacking the dodge skills on top of the dodge that you're getting. Or take the laser gun build for example. The combination of skills, weapons, and the perk deck somehow makes it amazing. But the biker perk deck doesn't seem to have anything like that. I haven't really found any builds or setups with it that make me go like, wow, this is really good. The only one that I can think of that is remotely like that is a Sentry build. Sentries also proc the regeneration from the perk deck, but this is pretty much something that Sentries are just good at. Any perk deck that relies on getting damage or kills, like Anarchist, Maniac, Grinder, Biker, Sentry guns will proc the effects. At least to my knowledge. I don't think any perk decks exempt Sentry gun damage from your own. I don't really remember. Sentry guns are damn good at killing lots of enemies super fast, so you'll get lots of regen fast, but again, it's limited by the cooldown, so it doesn't really matter all that much anyway. I guess the best way to put it is that this perk deck is very consistent and it's pretty useful, but at least for me, it doesn't stand out and it's not very interesting otherwise.